These are Mercury Dimes. I said I was going to make a video about them, so here it is. These depict Lady Liberty in a winged Phrygian helmet, which is a Roman sort of getup. And they're actually called winged helmet liberties. They were nicknamed Mercury Dimes because people thought the depiction of Liberty looked like the Roman god Mercury in some ancient sculptures, which it does. This is a sculpture by Adolf Weinman, who's an interesting fellow because he did not work for the U.S. Mint. He was a German immigrant, and he was a sculptor. He was an artist. And they started making these in 1916. At that point, the barber dimes and quarters and whatnot were about 25 years old. And the Mint decided they needed doing, so they held a contest, which Barber himself entered, and Weinman entered it and won. Barber's art style, as I mentioned in a previous video, was angular and blocky, and it really stood up to circulation. The old Barber stuff still looks very close to how it was minted, even in very circulated copies. This is more of a detailed art style, and the details really get worn down to where you can't really see them in the circulated ones. Fortunately, I have one that somehow survived, never having been circulated. If I can get it to focus. And you can see the detail in the winged helmet as it was originally meant to be. So he had a model for Lady Liberty. It was his buddy's wife. Wallace Stevens was an American poet, and his wife Elise sat for this one. And she has a look of resolute defiance, in my opinion. And it made me wonder if there's ever been a depiction of Liberty where she was smiling, and I don't recall one. Lady Liberty just kind of has resting bitch face, like the Statue of Liberty. The engraving says, "Give me your poor, you're tired, you're sick. Like, come on over." And her face looks mad as hell. Like, do you really want me to come over? It's like, women always be given mixed signals like that. Just kidding. On the back, from a distance, it sort of looks like a torch or something. It's called a fasces, F-A-S-C-E-S, which is a bundle of rods with a protruding axe head, and you can see the axe head in the upper left-hand corner. It was a ceremonial thing that officers in Roman court called lictors carried in Roman times, sort of how a modern-day judge would carry a gavel. Lictors were similar to prosecutors or judges, and they would mete out punishments, and they would carry a fasces. And it became a symbol of law and order, but over time, it became a symbol of authoritarian power. And indeed, the word fasces is the root of the word fascist, meaning a person who supports authoritarianism. And the fascist party in Italy preceding World War II used this as a symbol. Around the same time these coins were minted. So why would Weinman use this symbol? Well, the fascist party in Italy was sort of on the rise, and they had kind of co-opted it. And the symbol of the fasces was ideologically up for grabs. An analogy I can give is the James Gadsden flag, the yellow flag with the snake, "Don't tread on me." Certainly James Gadsden and the American revolutionaries were the political liberals of the day. And 30 years ago, if you were to see someone sporting a Gadsden flag patch, you would have no idea what their political affiliation was. Maybe they were patriot or possibly a veteran. In the classic 1980s movie 3 O'Clock High, the main character has a large Gadsden flag tapestry in his room. That was certainly not a political statement. In 2024, if you see someone sporting a Gadsden flag patch, you can safely assume they are affiliated with the American political right because it's been co-opted by them. Much like the fasces was co-opted by the Italian fascists around the time this coin was minted. So I think Weinman's only motivation for including the symbol was as a callback to the Roman system of governance and its influence on our founders. And certainly Roman and Greek themes are everywhere in American coinage and in the architecture in Washington, D.C., because the Roman Senate and the Greek Republic were huge influences on our founders. So these were minted prior to 1964, which means they're composed of 90% silver. And one way you can tell this is you look at the edge, and these are 80-year-old coins, and the edge is completely silver. I have here a 2022 dime, which is made of melted down paper clips and Chuck E. Cheese tokens or whatever. If you look at the edge, this coin is not even 2 years old. Focus. And you can already see the copper being exposed. I'm trying to get it to focus. But that's all I have for this one. Mercury Dimes. They're very popular with a lot of collectors. They collect bags of them. They acquire them by the poundage. I'm not that into them. Of course, I needed a few for collector purposes. But I do find them interesting, and the depiction of the winged helmet Lady Liberty is in fact one of my favorite, if not my favorite, depictions of liberty in all of U.S. coinage. That's it. Cheerio.